Thank you for coming in. I really wanted to talk about these. I want to have a conversation about these two movies because they're both so connected with everything that we are all doing right now. And so, and the other thing that was really kind of surprising and wonderful for me was every time I brought up, especially Disclosure Day, almost everybody, said or indicated that they actually felt as if they were being there was some energy coming in and they left the theater in a different place. Almost everybody said they feel like they were almost kind of like, yep, we're here. And yep, you're one of us. And thank you for coming in. And so I found that really fascinating. I too felt like that. I was lucky to have seen like a midnight showing, and there was only one other person in the theater, and we both kind of got up. We didn't talk at all. We didn't know, and it was kind of like we kind of looked in, and it's just like, yeah, something's changed. And he said, yeah, something's changed. And I just thought it was really interesting. We had a little bit of a discussion, and then I left. But so I did want to actually, talk about, I'm tempted to say, everybody here who saw the movie and felt like they were moved, felt like they were downloaded with something, go ahead and just, raise your hand and let us know. I wish we had a red cardinal emoji that we could all pop up. So, anyway, so I'm really, really excited to hear everybody's thoughts. I also want to start with a very personal story that has to do with both George Lucas and Spielberg. So, my stepfather was an unwilling channel. He didn't want to do it. He was embarrassed about it. He was afraid of it. Um, and when he met my mother and they started dating, he was actually living in a broken down apartment right next door to George Lucas and Spielberg. And when I asked him to come in, I basically said, are these stories that you actually channeled on, on behalf of out there to these two? And he said, yep, that's what we did almost every night. I would go into a channeling and I would channel all these beautiful stories to come in. So it feels very, very personal. My stepfather never talked about it. I never, ever, ever talked about it. I didn't know he was a channel until I was probably about 13 or 14. And all of a sudden, all these people moved in with us and they stayed with us for about a month. And my stepfather was channeling for all of them. He was channeling a being called Alpha. And I think that had to do with Alpha, Omega. And I think this is really, really fun. And it feels very personal. It felt like I hadn't even thought about this until I saw the movie. And then I just kind of had the opening and the memory of my stepfather, who's on the other side, obviously, if I'm talking to him from the other side, who stepped over many years ago. But I did want to share all that with you. Somebody had asked me if I thought that Steven Spielberg had channeled or had this story channeled, and I said yes. And so I'm doubling down and saying absolutely yes. So, disclosure. It's almost as if, for me, what it felt like is as the movie was opening up and as Emily Blunt started clicking, I kind of felt like it was like something kind of opened inside of me. Something became alert. Something became known for me in a way. And it wasn't that I understood what she was saying, but it put me on a long journey of how many people here have been visited by the red cardinal. I mean, it just kind of connected some dots for me, connected a lot of dots. I'm curious to hear from anybody else how they responded to it and or what happened for them. I really want this to be a conversation. I don't want to be the talking head. But I really would love to have everybody just share what their feelings were. Who would like to share their impressions, and then we'll move into the Hail Mary, Mercy, whatever the name of that one was, which was also so beautiful. And I know that the reason we all connected with that is because, yeah, we're here. We're not here to save the sun this time. We're here to save planet Earth. And they were successful. And I also loved that whole story of like the unwilling hero who didn't want to do it. How many of us feel like that on this time? So, Devon, please unmute.
Sure. Yeah, I don't have a lot to share, but if nobody else wanted to go ahead and share what little I do have. I was a little bit distracted because I had taken Amakua and it was pretty loud, and I didn't realize it was going to be so loud. We were okay. Anyway, so I think my biggest thing, I mean, amazing. And love it. It's time. I think my biggest, I feel like there were a lot of downloads happening. I see what you're saying. I felt that change as well. I felt a little bit not quite out of my body, but it was, and I think it was very well described with an energy shift because there was a difference and there was a little bit of I get kind of out of body experience, but not really out of body. It's just different than right when I walked in. And I had the thought there were four other people in there, and they got up right away and walked out. And I was thinking, how can you do that? I
Right.
had to just sit there in it. How could you just get up and leave? I mean, with how I felt with the sensation of it, I don't think I could have stood up right away. Um,
Right.
anyway, but I thought it was an amazing job. Yeah, that's all.
You
That's all.
bring up something so important, if I may. What I also loved about it is it wasn't a normal spooky wooky darkness against light. He kept on a stream of hopefulness. And although some of the movie makers that like to see things getting blown up and people getting killed were like, "Mwah." And I think the people that got up and left, they were not being. I'm titillated by the fear, and I think that then this like, oh, this is just a stupid movie, this badly made movie, and left. And so that would have been my guess. But I loved that there wasn't one time that I felt fear. And I loved that the message that he brought in is they're coming in love. They're coming in love. They're coming in to help. They're coming in to save us. You know what I mean? Well, we're saving ourselves with them because we are them. So yeah,
Very
thank you.
refreshing. Very refreshing to not have the fear aspect of it. And
Right?
just the phenomenal awe, I think is the word I was looking for with the feeling I had, which if you look at the characters, they are completely disarmed by that knowing love vibration safe. They're just like, okay, surrender in this phenomenal awe. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so powerful. So powerful. And were you did you have that feeling that you kind of went back and connected a whole bunch of dots as to oh, right, everything that's kind of like, oh my gosh, that's why the animals were so important. That's why they were there to save me. That's why they were there to constantly save me in my environment, which was perfectly so toxic. I had no chance but to grow. And, um, and yeah, it's very magical. The other thing that I feel about it too, and I'd like to know if other people are feeling like this, is I feel like it's expanding. It's continuing to expand. It wasn't like just watching the movie and then, getting up and, hey, where are we going to go for dinner or whatever. But it was like, oh my gosh, um, this is really powerful. I need to be really quiet. And if I started clicking and trying to speak to myself, I would have been completely comfortable with it. Completely comfortable. I have a question for everybody. I I didn't pay attention to it, but on one of the very last scenes, when the aliens were speaking and clicking, and it was right before Emily Blunt, I don't remember her name, was going to interpret what was being said. And she said, listen, how many of you heard listen with the clicks? I don't remember, but I don't know if any of you have a memory of it, and it would be fascinating. If you do, raise your hand because we all want to know. And also just so, yeah, I love that they just kind of showed that the government did not want us to know about it, but they didn't, but they gave the government no power, which was lovely. Anyone else have any, want to continue sharing as to how it moved you and or changed you, or if nothing happened, I want to know about that too. Um,
We have some comments. Kara is saying about that listen. Um, Whoop, it moved. I was just startled that that was the end. Um, and Devin is answering, it was just the beginning, actually. Um,
right?
and Gloria shared my favorite line from Disclosure with the ET telling us, do not fear what you do not understand. I love that.
Oh, right. Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so powerful. Okay, anybody else want to share? Um,
Ranny?
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
hi. Do you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Hi. I actually saw the movie today and just a few hours ago, and
Oh,
yeah, it was very powerful. And the fact that they spoke the light language was so powerful. This is the like very fascinating to see the bird and the animals and the aliens, and you know the fact that they spoke with the light language, it was so natural. It looks so natural now. Wasn't in the past, but now it is.
right. Now it's like we can all kind of um when we're speaking it, we get the download. When we're hearing it, we understand it. We may not be able to give it form or give it words, but we have, we get the healing, we get the upgrade, we get the energy. And so, yeah, and it's very powerful. I'm so glad you went out today. Oh my gosh.
And Vaughn is sharing, so perhaps the change or awe that I felt is the massive etheric download, the opening off and movement of all the pieces into place, the bridges built.
Right? Well, and the other thing that I love, thank you for saying that, is it feels like we have all been connected in a stronger way, in a I'm not alone way any longer, and not it's like no, I'm here with a community. I'm here with people that came to accomplish what I've come to accomplish, except they're just going to be putting their own unique fingerprint and skills and specialty into it. And for I don't know about most of you, but I've spent most of my life feeling completely alone, completely unheard, unseen. I have felt, that I'm such a weirdo and I'm the only weirdo and nobody gets me and nobody will ever get me. And there was something so connective. It was almost as if the it was almost as if Spielberg actually channeled the connection in for all of us to kind of look around and recognize one another, which has been really, really powerful. Really, really powerful. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? I just want everybody to talk or write or.
I want to share something about the listen at the end. When I thought of it again, I saw myself saying the word listen and made me think that now we're giving ourselves permission to be the ones talking about what we know and what we feel instead of, trying to hide and be shy about it.
Right. Oh, that's so powerful. Right? Yeah, listen. Okay. Yeah. And for me, it kind of felt like it was one of the very first times that I really did listen. And I mean, we all talk to him all the time, but it really felt very, very powerful.
We have a
Anyone in the
message
chat? People are
from
shy.
Kara. Kara said, I thought it was interesting the tension between protecting everyone from the truth versus telling them the truth and expecting them to be able to handle it. I feel like I wrestle with cuddling people versus seeing them as their powerful selves and expecting them to be able to handle whatever the situation is.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that's a good point. That's really, really a good point. Yeah, I mean, we're all on that journey of realizing our light, realizing how powerful we are, realizing, that we didn't come here to just, play small and bury our dreams and bury everything. We we really came here to remember our power and come together and do our work. The sun has been the sun has been saved, and we're all saving ourselves down here.
From Devon, when Karen spoke of isolation becoming a collective, I see this image of droplets of colored oils at first separate, slowly coming closer, then merging, but keeping their unique brilliance and then expanding in rainbow collective colors.
Oh, oh, beautiful. Yeah, no, it's very connective, very, very connective and very important. And the timing couldn't be any better. And I'm even willing to bet that Spielberg's probably been trying to make this movie for quite some time. and has never been able to put it all together, has never been able to do it, because this absolutely was divine timing. And maybe it was that he needed to, download another piece. He needed to listen to those old-timey cassette tapes of all the channeling, of all the stories. But if anybody here is worried about, oh, I just want my goods, I want my goodies to come in, divine timing makes it come in at the perfect time. Devon, thank you. Thank you for sharing so much, Devon.
Sure, sorry. And if like don't let me interrupt.
No.
Anyway, I wonder when you were talking about Spielberg and channeling, the video footage that he used, like any thoughts on do you think some of it could be actual real footage out there? I mean, I'm certain that if not, that there is footage that is the same, but do you think that maybe that some of that could be real footage? Not disclosed as such, right? And if he were to say, yeah, this is real footage, he could get his movie banned. But without saying it, could it be? Could he have had access to some real footage? And is that some real footage?
Well, let me go in. It feels to me like, yeah, there is footage out there from, I guess, Roswell. I'm kind of hearing that the footage that he used was actually he recreated it from somebody explaining what the footage looked like. I don't think they gave him the footage, but he was able to kind of replicate it, and we've all seen enough of the kind of replication. And he did a beautiful, beautiful job. And but I don't think that. Well, when was Roswell? There very few people I think are still even alive that were there. I don't know. But yeah, I believe that he was just it was explained to him and he comped it up by what we already kind of think has been out there and what has not. But yeah, it's very powerful. Very, very powerful. Just the storyline being, what the government, what the cruelty of the government just to shut it up. And very sweet. He did it in a way that made you immediately open up your heart and connect versus, oh, that's weird, or, uh-oh, are you dangerous? Or, wait a minute, what's going on?
So Roswell was early July 1947. And Judy said, I read that those footages, sorry, were not real. And Kara said, from my limited video editing experience, I'd expect that it would actually come out better for him to recreate it than to use the actual footage anyway.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, and how fun for a filmmaker, right? And doing the special effects. And nothing is more fun. But what I loved about how he told that story is, again, I think we had a car and a train or something, but, no big blow ups, no big anything. It was just, everything just felt very normal and very, just kind of everyday. And really kind of even, and where our curiosity was more open than any fear. And I think that's where, many people just stood up and left because they wanted to be scared. They wanted people to blow up and die or whatever. They wanted to leave being afraid that the aliens were going to take them over and turn them into slaves or whatever people worry about. I don't know.
Carrie is sharing, I actually put off watching the movie because I hate that kind of action-packed suspense. I was really glad there was so little of that.
Yeah, no, me too. I just don't have the central nervous system to go watch things blow up and get scared, and I have no interest in doing that. So thank you. Um,
Some people in the chat said they haven't seen the movie yet, so maybe we'll have moviegoers this weekend after this session.
oh, I highly recommend it, and I think anybody here who has seen it, it is. I'm trying to think of. Well, it's kind of interesting is because not in the same way, but having another story told similarly was the Project Hail Mary. And, where everything is just hopeful and everything is, no, we're here to help one another. We're here to, on Project Hail Mary, they discovered there was some kind of something, eating the sun. And so they needed to figure out to how to create something to take out
Hi guys!
the
Hi,
um let's see. There we go. Um Somebody's puppy or kitten just came in.
baby! Yeah, absolutely. Felt like it.
So wonderful. But and you had your kind of unwilling hero, who I didn't read the book, but evidently he was kind of taken out and put on the spaceship to go up and save the planet, and then met the alien from, ironically, Iridani, the planet that many of us are already familiar with, and made a choice to go, not go home when he thought he was going to go home because there wasn't enough fuel. But he made a choice to go up and save the planet for his friend Rocky the ET. Very simply said, but it was just one of those. It was a little bit more too scientific for me, so had no idea what was really going on most of the time. But um, it was just really exciting to just see that sometimes what really moved me about Project Hail Mary was that I'm going to call him Grace. I don't know what his name was. I don't remember what his name was, and I can't remember his actor name. But where he chose to not do what he wanted to do, not go back to Earth because he was unwillingly, in this spaceship or whatever it was to go save the sun. But what really moved me was when he realized that Rocky was not going to be successful by himself to save Iridani, Epsilon Iridani, that he chose to like put away all of the stuff that, I don't care about going home. I'm going to go home and make sure that the planet is saved. And that was really moving to me. Very, very moving.
I
Um,
I think April is trying to raise her hand.
yes,
That was
hi.
your
Thank
question, April? How do I
Hey,
raise my
I'm napping.
you.
Anyway, I was waiting for you to get to Project Hail Mary because I didn't see the other one yet. Um, but Project Hail Mary stayed with me for days, and I feel emotion coming up right now.
Right?
I felt it was the most heart opening. My heart opened so many times during that movie. Plus, the laughter. I laughed so many times because he was so fun. And I just love fun. And uh, there was just so much to it. I fell in love with him and Rocky I fell in love with the both of them. And at one point, when they're learning how to talk and share language and share both of their ideas and both of their masteries, um, and he was, it's interesting because he was in a coma and he woke up and he was alone. And I
Right.
thought, right there is a huge metaphor, right? And he continued to say, I'm not an astronaut. I'm not an astronaut. And yet he kept expanding and he was so big in his presence and his abilities and his fearlessness in a way, to just keep letting things present and walking through each door, if you will. But the part in the movie, there's two parts. It just blew my heart wide open. I just resonated with the whole thing. I was afraid at certain things like, oh my gosh, the ship's going too fast, or is it going to crash, all that stuff. But I was like, just chill out, April. And then when they hugged for the first time, I just went bonkers.
Mm.
Do you remember when they hugged through Rocky and him through the glass? Oh my gosh. I was just like,
I
it just blew my socks
swear.
off. And then the very end, I was literally screaming with joy how he had chosen this new life and to share in this new co-creation. I don't know. I just thought it was amazing, Karen. I can't wait to watch it again.
I feel exactly the same, and I love that you brought up that that was his mission, that was his purpose. And he
Yes.
started out being really small. I'm just this little teacher. I don't know who I am. Nobody listened to my science. Nobody believed me. My dissertation was, considered crap. And just showing up, not knowing and learning and expanding and being guided and led. And even when he didn't feel like he was ready and he needed to learn more, he needed to have more degrees, and if that is not one of the most beautiful, beautiful ways of explaining what what all of our lives are like as we're moving
Exactly.
forward, and
Exactly.
we're going towards, what we're supposed to be going towards. It's in our destiny, like it was their destiny to come together. And yeah, and I love the humor,
Oh, totally.
just, oh my gosh.
It was, and that's another, for me, part of life that's so important. Like to be lighthearted, to laugh, to enjoy, to have fun, to not take everything serious. So I really appreciated that. And he was like thrown into the unknown, but he was
Unwilling.
obviously ready, as all of us are. We might have some brakes
Thank you.
on or fear or whatever, but we're all ready. It's I don't know. I just thought it was awesome.
Right? Yeah,
And
no, we are already.
I couldn't wait to talk to somebody about it. So thank you for having this, because I would tell people, oh, you got to watch this, but they're like, oh, I don't like sci-fi. I'm like, okay.
Right? Yeah, I don't want aliens. I don't want sci-fi. I don't want, and it's like, oh, but the stories were told so beautifully.
I
They're
loved
told
it.
with through a heart instead of through a central nervous system that needs to be shaken up. Yeah, I agree with everything. And I love that it just kind of feels like this is our spiritual growth. This is what we're here. And I know all of us are star seeds. We are very responsible for coming down and helping, you know, save planet Earth. And I also am very, very clear, I've been told over and over, and I say it as many times as I can fit it in the conversation. We're going to be successful for the very first time in history on the planet. So,
Hallelujah. Amen. It has been
yeah,
spoken, and so it is. Thanks,
and so it
Karen.
is. Thank you.
Let's all go to that planet and hang out for a little bit.
Right? Ah,
It looked gorgeous.
well, they even had it kind of correct. From I did a starseed. Oh, I've done a bunch of starseed steps, and we're gonna go save planets on the next starseed mission. But they actually showed Eridani the same way that it was shown to me, and so that was really.
Wow.
It's not like, oh, so I'm right. This is not like an ego thing for me, but it was like more of like a, oh my gosh, because sometimes I feel like, how can this be true? Look at
That's
where that my
awesome.
my guides are making me go here, we're going here, we're going to do this, and it's like, okay, and am I making this up? And it's like, no, I'm not. Or at least I'm making it up in the same way others are making it up.
I
So,
love it. Thank you, sweets. Love you.
no, love you
Um,
too.
before we go to you, Tiffany, there's a question from Mary that, Karen, I'm not familiar with Eridani. Can you say a bit more about that? Thank you.
Yes. So, the Epsilon Eridani is located between Orion and the star system of Taurus up in the air. The other interesting thing about them is since 2012, which is interesting when we go back to that time, their spaceships have been observing Earth and watching and helping us all awaken our natural abilities. The people are very, very highly technologically advanced, obviously, and they have the Epsilon Eridani has literally two planets in that star system. One of them, most of the life is underwater. They've got huge cities all underwater. They've learned how to, cleanse the air in these bubbles and breathe naturally and all of that. The second planet, which is called Ezra, is it resembles planet Earth, but it has a daytime sky of yellow. Okay. And otherwise it's just green and peaceful and just beautifully muted colors and comfortable. The Epsilonians have been one of the first of the star seeds that have mastered, they're calling it like logic born from a heart rather than from their mind. So they're able to marry, if you're relating to any of this, you're probably Epsilonian. Um, and they're fantastic at decision making because all of their decisions are made from compassion and a higher consciousness. So their decisions are amazing. They're master mediators. So if there's any, friction any place, they're the very first to come down. It makes sense why they've been down here since 2012. We've got a lot of friction here. They're interesting in most of the star families. The star families prefer to live in a mass of souls. So what that means is that, your little soul combines with everybody else's little soul. You're loved, you're protected, you're safe, and your responsibility is only just providing your own natural gifts, whatever those are. Um, Most of us here are beautiful healers. Most of us here are leaders. Most of us here are beautiful communicators, and we're warriors. And so, what they prefer there, rather than just living in a soul mass, that is very comfortable and it's just like, okay, I'm just going to express who I am and my gifts and share it with everybody here. In um, the Epsilon Eridani on Ezra on both of them, they prefer to live as single souls. So that so it's not one big soul. So when they're working on mediating or working on navigating just a peaceful outcome for all, there's a lot of separate heart consciousness and understandings based on their own individual skill set. And they've realized that when they come together, they have more data to be able to crunch to make sure that the outcome is best for all. They're all about the truth. They're all about truth. They're about peace. They are all about um, just they're the beautiful peacemakers. They're the beautiful compromisers. They're a beautiful, beautiful advanced race. So I hope that helps. There's a lot more, but um,
Tiffany, you want to unmute?
Yes, I
aw, hi.
really, hello. I really, really loved Hail Mary. It was just, and initially, I had tried to watch it before you sent the email and I couldn't get through it. But then you sent the email and I said, okay, I'm going to try it one more time. And the beginning to me was a little difficult. But after the commander lady sang, I think it took a turn. I don't know if
Okay,
anybody
yeah,
remembers that, but
yeah.
once
I would agree. I had problems with the
once she
beginning.
Tiffany, we're losing you.
singing, to
Tiffany, we
me,
can't hear
she
you
was
anymore.
singing in light language.
Tiffany, we lost you. Can you try
Tiffany,
again
do you want to
or
try
write it in the
again?
chat?
You're still
Can
breaking
you
up,
hear me?
so we can. It literally is almost kind of like we can hear the
Can you hear me?
clicks.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me
Oh,
now?
yes.
You can.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So I was just saying that the commander, once she started singing, it was like she was singing in light language. And it really, the different tones, she did like these different tones in the singing. And then from the point of um, when when Grace met Rocky, I thought it was very interesting that he was a rock. I don't know if you've seen the author, but the author to me is very rocky looking. He's very sort of rugged looking in the face. And so then I felt like there was a part of the author in Rocky.
Ah,
He's also an electrical engineer. And so he has a background in science. And so he would consider himself very smart. And I write a little bit. So sometimes when I see things, I see different works, I always think about the author and what the author was thinking when they were writing that. And like, what angels were helping. And I always
right.
kind of think about those sorts of things. But I had a hard time with Rocky initially. And I sort of had to think about that and where all of that was coming from. Because to me, he kind of looked like a lobster, and then he looked like a rock, and then he kind of looked like a turd. It was like this, you know what I mean? It was like all these different little things, and I felt like that was more of the earth, but putting him as an alien. And I felt like it was about connection and loyalty. There were so many layers,
So
you
many
know.
beautiful layers, and that author is, I believe he also just gets downloads and channels these stories because he's prolific
Yes.
and I had a tough time in the beginning as well. I got up a number of times, but I'm glad that I sat through it. I loved their relationship. I loved that beautiful, heartfelt. I loved everything about it. The choices
I
people
did too.
made. Yeah,
The biases, the biases, the fact that
yeah,
we sometimes look at people and we judge, and really it was about just seeing people from authentically from who they are and building a relationship around that based on what people seem to be or what they look to be, or also sort of prejudging ideas before you take the time to actually explore those ideas. I just felt like there was a million different layers in just a
right.
couple of hours.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It was so beautiful. So beautiful.
We have a lot of comments from Svetlana.
Thank you,
I
Tiffany.
rem I
You're
remember it
welcome.
was a challenge watching Avatar, the very first one, with all that violence, but it was worth it. I so enjoyed the magic of the planet, Neytiri's cat-like movement, and the ekrans. The ekrans felt like home, lol. I know what that soaring is like.
Aw, right? Yeah.
And then Aparajita. Hello, everybody. Love, light, blessings, and joy. Aparajita from India, joining from New Jersey, USA. I watched Project Hail Mary a few days ago and couldn't help admiring it.
Aw,
Then Devon is
beautiful.
cracking me up because she's quoting she's quoting the movie Bump My Fist. No, not the same. Lol. I have so many quotes in my head. From Gloria. The innocence and generosity of both Rocky and Grace was so inspirational and joyful. It was so life-giving.
Hmm,
And
right.
from Leslie, I like the fact that neither Rocky or Grace felt like they were qualified to do what they were doing, but they were giving it their all anyway, and together they were better for the experience.
Well stated. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we just show up and do our best and we do a perfect job somehow.
And Devon is sharing intriguing way to open the door to the possibilities of intelligence beyond humanoid form, the standard five-pointed star form, head and four limbs. And then I think she answered about something else that you said. Through different evolutionary paths, different technology developed all outside what we in human form may think to perceive. Keyword think.
Right.
And from Judy, I also resonated with this movie and welled up often with emotions, but I spoke to a few people who also saw it and thought it was just silly with Rocky. I think this movie was well received, but wonder if instead of Rocky, the E.T. was a more humanoid being, that it would have been better received.
I actually think that that was done on purpose. That was meant to kind of light those of us up that were meant to be lit up at this point without having to bring in a humanoid looking alien or ET, and many of them are pretty humanoid anyway. But to only do that, I think, um, hmm, I think that that would have been to remove fear rather than to induce hope.
I agree.
Yeah.
Um, from Aparajita, I had always been drawn to the stars and the intergalactic. These movies take me to another dimension and make me believe in the goodness of the universe.
Oh, right? And the safety and the love and the protection and There's more of us than there are them.
From Leslie, on Hail Mary, there's a prayer that begins, Hail Mary, full of grace. And I wonder if that is a nod to the fact that it was grace that saved the Aridians.
Yes, it was grace, and it was grace, and it was grace. Yeah, oh, good. Yeah, wonderful insight.
Devon.
So along the lines of different technology, um, I seem to remember a few years ago, maybe it was a little longer than that, there was some news on something in our, like, I guess, far off skies, not Earth skies, but stars, that it was like a cigar-shaped kind of
Right.
seemingly rock or something. Did, and then okay, this movie Iridians, and if I don't know if they actually are rock formed, but definitely like they're using xenon as a solid instead of a gas, so different technology, it's going to look different. Um, do you have any insight, or is there anything to say, was that maybe that wasn't even something true, but if it was true, was that something in our sky that was a technology, or, like an assisting awakening, or, something along those lines?
Hmm. Yeah, it kind of feels like it's like all of the above, and choices were made for the ease of storytelling. Not that I think that the puppeteers would say, no, that was the easiest puppeteering we've ever done. They will probably get an award for that puppeteering, if they have an award for that. But yeah, there was just choices made that were going to be easier. But and so what is really real? I don't know. Maybe all of it. Maybe we all have the ability where we're solid in our body and we're light when we step out of our body. We're light when we're in our body. And when we get in our emotions, we get pretty watery. Yeah, beautiful.
Tiffany.
Hey, I thought it was interesting that Rocky could hear Grace, but Grace couldn't hear Rocky without the machine. Like Rocky could
Yes.
automatically understand Grace, sort of, but we have to have our thinking machine.
Yeah, I think that that's how they told the story of, the ETs speak in telepathy. They use telepathy, and we are advancing to the point where our telepathy is coming on board, and and that's going to be how we will be communicating in the future, which is also so interesting. And we have many, many, many beautiful little star seeds being born that are, getting diagnoses, like autism or who knows what they all are. But many of them have come forth to start teaching us telepathy, where rather than be worried that, oh no, my loved one, can't speak, and what's going to happen if they can't speak, it's just like, they're going to lead the world. They're going to teach the rest of us how to do that.
But I also feel like humans have a preference for machines. We sort of have a reliance on our thinking machines, and I think of it more as in terms of it's a game sort of for us. It's like, and it's also in some regards, I think it's a little bit of, I don't want to say laziness, but it's a way where we sort of put off our thinking onto something else. But it also
Right.
allows us to be tinkers. It allows us to be creators, sort of this secondary machine type thing. So it's also like
Yeah.
a part of our story because we're automatically telepathic, I believe. We already
Mhm.
have those skills, but we choose And then once we choose to use the machines, we sort of choose to forget that the machines are a creation of us. The machines do not create us, we create the machine. So then it becomes this,
Exactly.
oh, we gotta be so afraid of AI. But honestly, come on. AI is a creation of the human. AI is for us. We are not for AI. But we get this forgetfulness, and it sort of plays into this story. So I felt like, Rocky and Grace, they were both very smart and very brilliant, but the alien was less reliant on the story. The thinking machine was a toy. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah. No, makes so much sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and beautifully stated. Yeah.
I just thought that was very interesting. Like I said, the Rocky sort of seamlessly went into understanding what Grace was saying. But Grace went through sort of a theatrical, taping up the machine and banging on the machine and, trying to get his voice right and all of that. And it really played into the storyline and I loved it. But I also felt like, okay, there's a
Right.
seamless way to do this and we're not doing it because we're human and we make things more than they are. We make things hard so that we can tell a story.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we come down, we know who we are. We are just amazing. We come down, we awaken, and then at about a year and a half to two, some of us at three, we get, as per our agreement, we get wounded, we forget who we are, we go into darkness, and then we go through the healing so that we can grow our soul and we can heal ourselves and heal the planet at large. When we are healing all of those wounds within us, everybody benefits from that. And then we remember who we are. And a part of that is we're all very psychic. We all know things, we see things, we hear things, we feel them, we all of that is on board. But there is, but when we go into the wounding, we we forget to, or we fail to trust ourselves as to what we're getting. And and so that is another like huge theme. But even in the movie, so he had his little thinking machine on until he just learned to trust that he knew how to communicate, that he was getting everything right, and that's where we're going.
Yeah, I think it's, and it's the journey too, because in the beginning when they didn't like his ideas and they didn't, he was wounded from having been
Hmm.
rejected from some of these brilliant ideas. And I feel like that is such it's not a mimic, but it's such a picture of where our society is today. I feel like there's so many very brilliant minds out there. And there's so many people that actually have these tremendous ideas, but you tend to be up against a story and a
Hmm.
story that sort of invalidates things. And so then we
Yeah, they're
sort of
wounding.
spend
Yeah.
wounding, and so then you have lots of brilliant minds that have to spend time changing and healing the wound when really we could be doing other things. But because this is sort of a wounded universe, you've got to sort of pack a bunch of band-aids and alcohol and iodine to try to, clear up these storylines that you sort of get thrown into. And so then I think that helps with some of the confusion. You could tell he was deeply wounded. He felt that he was smart. He felt that he had ideas, but he almost didn't want to like put himself out there, Grace, because he was afraid of not that his ideas weren't good enough, but that the rejection and the idea that maybe I should just be a teacher.
His
you know.
wounding, that he wasn't good enough, that he wasn't ready, he wasn't smart enough, all of that wounding, and um, and healing that, and there's when you lift all the way up and look from a higher perspective at what happens on planet Earth, how else would we have so many beautiful beings doing self-healing, which is healing the universe and healing ourselves and healing our families and healing our communities and healing our continents and healing this whole planet. And if we weren't actively doing our own healing, which is shared, when you heal one little belief system that, maybe you're not ready to go do something great, when you heal that, you help everybody, you help so many others that are faced with that same struggle to kind of smooth the road to make it easier. And so when you lift all the way up and you look down and look at how many of us and how deeply the wounding has been and how crazy it's been, and the wounding alone has just been horrendous. But how else do we heal this planet, heal the whole universe, heal absolutely everything without just going on these healing journeys? And I think that when we look at it, not that, oh, I'm flawed and I'm behind and I don't know and I'm not all that. If you're here now, none of that is true. You have a huge, huge, beautiful responsibility to heal the planet, heal the universe, and you're doing it, even if you're not even aware that you're doing it, or it just feels like, I just want it to be a little easier.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So it's awe-inspiring when I look at it through psychic eyes. And so many of us think that, we're here to save the planet by doing XYZ. We'll go out and plant trees. And yeah, that's very, very important. And take care of Mother Gaia and take care of one another and keep healing ourselves and watch those around us healing as we heal ourselves.
But I also kind of feel like, and this is a little bit of a maybe a controversy, but I feel like we're not here to heal the planet. And I don't know. I mean, that is a storyline. The planet is here for us. I feel like once we understand that as a collective, the planet is here for our enjoyment and our fun, and being a cooperative component to our environment is what heals things. And so that means that we don't do negative, energetic types of things because they're not a cooperative component to the planet. And so
Ah, beautifully stated. Yeah.
we're sort of desperate for these storylines. And it seems like it doesn't matter if it's a negative storyline or a positive storyline, as long as we can tell some sort of something or some sort of story. But the planet doesn't need to be healed. The planet responds to the positive and the love and the heart that we have inside of us. It's very simple to heal the planet, but again, because even if you know that, even if you understand that, it's coming together as a collective and everyone coming to that understanding as a collective that will show the benefits of something greater, something better, something beyond, because the animals are also here for us. All of those things are here for us. We choose to play with those things either in a positive way or a negative way.
Right. It goes right back to love or fear. And as long as we're choosing love, no matter what, we're
I agree.
yeah, I always use the word healing the planet, and and I use that because there's so much fear that that there is the polarity on Earth, where there's love and there's fear. And so I love your take on it, though. It's very well stated, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Hmm.
From Devon, some channeled work by Barbara Marciniak with the Pleiadians talk about our technology as a way for us to remember our innate abilities, what we may call telepathy or psychic ability. We as humans play with our technology as a way to eventually remember what we are capable of without the mechanical technology.
Ah, beautiful. Yeah, I love Barbara Marciniak. So important.
I guess Deborah had to leave, and she said, "Thank you, Karen. What a great idea. Another one of your marvelous ideas in Love Sharing Fest. This was so enjoyable. I didn't yet watch the movies and thoroughly enjoyed everyone's input of sharing. Love and light to all of you and all the universe."
Aw, thank you. Oh my gosh. So are we concluding? All right. I want to remind everybody, if you don't already know, I am starting a brand new class called Mastering Miracles, in case anybody might be interested. It's going to be 8 weeks of very hands-on, it'd be a very, very small group with a lot of support, starting on August 6th and then going on through September 24th. And the investment is $2,000. We also have financing available if that would make it possible for you. So if you are interested in that, Cecile, can you put that in the chat so people could go find out more about it? And while that is happening, I want to thank everybody for all of your patience with me and my technology. Um, I love you all. This has been really beautiful and expanding, and thank you everybody for sharing, whether or not that were your ideas and your words or just your energy and your love and your peace. I love you all so much. We will see you soon, and you take care.